Blood Bowl Team Manager adapts Games Workshop's popular fantasy football miniatures game to a card game with lots of silly bloodiness and fun. With multiple highlight games and tournaments to compete in and 6 different teams that you can manage, the game does a really good job of capturing the feel of an entire season of this ridiculously bloody game.
So in Blood Bowl Team Manager, you pick 1 out of 6 possible teams. Each one has a different set of special abilities and a very different playing style. The game accommodates 2 to 4 players, and you can play it in 60 to 90 minutes, and you pit your team against all the other teams in the league to become the fan favorite.
Each round of Blood Bowl Team Manager has players competing in one-on-one highlight games as well as multiplayer tournaments to try to collect prizes that either allow them to upgrade their team or count as fan points. Now, at the very end of the game, the player with the most fan points is going to be declared the winner.
At the beginning of a round, each player draws 6 cards from their deck. Then, one at a time, they place one of their players on either side of one of the highlight games or the tournament games that's down on the table. The highlight games has a prize for the winner, as well as a prize for participation. The tournament game has a first prize, a second prize, and a loser prize as well. Now, there are so many games on the table that you're not really going to be able to compete in all of them effectively, so you'll have to take a look at the prizes and choose carefully which ones you want to compete for.
Each character in your team deck is going to have at least one of 4 unique standard abilities: passing, sprinting, cheating, and tackling. Certain players, such as star players, are also going to have a unique ability that can only be activated when they're first placed on the table, which means that play order is going to be important in using them effectively. Of the standard abilities, passing allows you to take control of the ball, which will grant you extra star power, while sprinting lets you cycle through the deck more quickly, which lets you get rid of weaker cards and bring in the more powerful ones, such as star players.
Perhaps the most interesting of the basic abilities in the game are tackling and cheating. To tackle their opponent, a player rolls 2 dice. Now, depending on whether the attacker or the defender has greater star power, that person will choose the result, because only 1 die gets counted. If the tackle is successful, the defender is downed, and they lose the ball, if they had it, and their star power is decreased. If a downed player is tackled again, they are injured and removed from the game. Now, cheating abilities allow you to take cheating tokens and place them on your character. Now, there's no limit to the amount of cheating tokens you can place on your character. However, the risk does go up with each one, because each cheating token can either get you greater star power, more fan points, or your player can be ejected from the game because they're cheating.
So each team deck is going to balance these 4 abilities a little bit differently, which is going to force you to play with a different strategy and a different approach depending on which one you have. As an example, the Athlon Avengers have a really strong passing game at the expense of a lot of the other abilities. On the other hand, you've got the Chaos All-Stars, who basically don't pass at all and just rely on cheating and tackling to really get the job done.
So to win a highlight game or a tournament game, one side's star power has to be greater than the other side. The ball gets you 2 extra star power, and if there's a tie, if you have the ball, you win. As multiple players from your team can take part in each battle, where you place your characters and if you can control the ball is going to make a really big difference. Now, cheating tokens are only revealed at the end of the round, so there's an element of randomness to each competition. You have no idea what those cheating tokens are going to say, so you don't know whether you're actually going to win, even if you think you are.
The prizes you can claim are going to range from just straight up fan points to staff and team upgrades, which either give you new ways of gaining yet more fan points or give your players new abilities. There are also star players, which you can add to your roster and which are going to really increase the strength of your team. However, it's important to note that you can only ever draft 1 of each kind of upgrade per contest, so if you want to grab a lot of upgrades quickly, you're going to have to compete in and win multiple games.
Once all of the prizes have been collected, new highlight games are laid out and a new Spike magazine card is drawn, which is going to set out conditions for the next round and if you're going to have a tournament as well. Then the next round begins, and the first player role is shifted, so if you got a benefit from being the first player in the first round, then that's negated in the second round. The game ends in 5 rounds of play, and then the player with the greatest fan points is the winner.
So I really like Blood Bowl. It's got a lot of different ways to gain points, including things like the staff upgrades that help balance out the randomness of things like the cheating tokens and the tackling dice. It's also got a lot of variety because of those 6 different decks we keep talking about. These are basically my favorite element of the game, the fact that you get such a different feel for each kind of team you play. So you've got to adapt your strategy, and it's just got a different flavor. Now, one downside of the game is there's a little bit of a runaway leader factor that can happen, which is less of an issue if you've got lots of players, because the fan points are visible, so people can just gang up on the leader and drag them back down to the pack. But it's a serious problem in the two-player game, because if one person gets way too far ahead, the person who's lagging just doesn't have a mechanic that they can use to catch up effectively.
Another con to this game is sometimes people tend to think too much. They get analysis paralysis here. Don't think too much in this game. Keep it moving quickly and you're going to have a lot more fun. A pro to this game is the flavor. It's fantastic. The art's great, the text is funny, you don't have to know anything about Warhammer or football to have a really good time playing this game.